Now, over the last decade or so, I purchased well over $1 million worth of dividend-paying stocks and ETFs. Some of my own money was used to purchase these names inside my long-term portfolio, and a ton of these names were also purchased with dividends that were paid to me by different names inside this portfolio that are also paying me more dividends as time goes on, which then I'm going to purchase more shares with that money and let the snowball keep compounding. Now, I say all that to say that I have a good read, or at least I'd like to think that I have a good read, on some of the best dividend-paying stocks and ETFs across the entire market, at least if you have the same goals in mind as I have. Now, my personal goals are I want to build a portfolio that is going to pay me a decent amount of cash flow right from day one, is going to be well diversified, and offer some upside potential. I also want my portfolio to, at least for the most part, offer some, if not a lot, of dividend growth in the future. And on top of that, as another bonus, I want the portfolio to be relatively tax efficient. I know that's sort of a lot to ask for, but these in the market, there's lots of stocks and ETFs that can get you to wherever you want to go to, generally speaking. So in this video, I'm going to share with you guys some of my favorite stocks and ETFs when it comes to dividend investing and when it comes to names that match my specific strategy. Names that I've been buying like crazy over the past decade or so, and even some newer names that just as of recently have caught my eye and are becoming a larger portion of the portfolio. So if you want to see some of my favorite dividend-paying stocks and ETFs from the past and in the current time, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. So the first name that's definitely on the list of some of my favorites of all time is going to be the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. SCHD is honestly one of the best ETFs across the entire market that, at least for me personally, offers almost everything I'm looking for. This ETF has a starting yield of around 4%, has a dividend growth rate of around 11%, it's grown like crazy over time, it's cheap to hold on to, it's well diversified, it's potentially tax efficient, so more or less it crosses off, like I said during the intro, every single thing more or less that I'm looking for. Now you might be saying, well then why don't you just only buy SCHD for your long-term portfolio? And honestly, back in the day when I first started investing, I wish I would have bought more of this one. But as of right now at 32 years old with the hopes to retire or slightly retire in the next 3 to 5 years, although I love SCHD, I also need to complement my portfolio with some higher yielders in order to receive a ton of cash flow consistently. Now all that to say that this ETF is my personal favorite if I were to just pick one buy and hold forever position. And again, my strategy, my objectives are probably not the exact same as yours, but for most dividend investors out there, what we're seeking, what we want out of a portfolio, I mean, SCHD does it pretty well. Another one of my all-time favorites is, of course, JEPQ, the JP Morgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF. This ETF has been in my portfolio more or less since it started trading several years ago. The ETF offers Nasdaq 100 exposure, but of course, it's more of a premium income ETF. So with the use of options, this ETF offers a ton more yield compared to something like SCHD. Now, JEPQ is by no means perfect. I mean, the dividend payouts are somewhat inconsistent. They have a lot to do with the implied volatility of the underlying over a certain time frame. And along with that, JEPQ isn't the most tax efficient vehicle across the market for a taxable portfolio like I'm personally using. But even still, this ETF has offered my portfolio some stable, consistent-ish income every single month, which then I've been using to reinvest into more shares of more stocks and ETFs like I shared with you guys during the intro. Now, if you ask 1,000 dividend investors what their favorite premium income ETF is, I'm sure most of them, at least probably 70+% of them, will probably bring JEPQ into the equation. Another one of my classic all-time favorites, a name that I'm still buying here and there as of today, is DIVO, the Amplify CWP Enhanced Dividend Income ETF. DIVO has been great for my portfolio since I started buying it several years ago because it's offered a consistent monthly payout of around 5% annual yield, which is not bad whatsoever, not the highest yield, but also DIVO has grown over time since I started buying it. DIVO buys into a small basket of holdings and, of course, sells covered calls on individual names, and this makes for a relatively low beta position in a long-term portfolio, or at least it has historically. Now, DIVO is probably not going to be the fastest grower across the entire market over, let's say, a 10-year time frame, but it has offered consistent gains somewhere in the range of 11 or 12% since inception every single year. So even though DIVO doesn't necessarily get as much love as some of the other popular ones, DIVO is pretty awesome, it's tax efficient, it's well diversified, it offers some nice income and growth potential too. Now, some of my newer favorites, SPYI, the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF, I started buying this one like crazy in 2024, as well as SPYI's brother or sister, QQQI, the NEOS Nasdaq 100 version. Both these ETFs, at least so far, have been pretty decent. They've offered more or less consistent distributions. This one offers exposure to the S&P 500, which I love, and of course this one offers exposure to the NASDAQ 100. Now there's tons of different high income ETFs across the market these days that offer exposure to the S&P and of course the NASDAQ, so it can be sort of hard to choose which ones match your strategy and are right for your portfolio. For me personally, I just buy into a lot of them and sort of see how they do. Now again, over the next 10-20 years, who in the world knows what ETFs like these are going to look like? It has a lot to do with how the market's going to trend and trade during certain time frames. But overall, for my portfolio, because I'm seeking income and some upside through a tax efficient manner, like I shared with you guys earlier, both these ETFs have, at least so far, been amazing for my portfolio. As far as dividend paying stocks go, Realty Income is still one of my favorites. I know Realty Income has more or less traded sideways over the last 5 or so years, basically since I started buying into it. I have not got rich whatsoever off Realty Income, even though I currently have just shy of 2,800 shares. But Realty Income still has offered me annually like 6% yield, monthly dividends that have been growing like crazy over time. And on top of that, I've been selling a ton of covered calls on my shares of Realty Income. So overall, I have honestly nothing bad to say about it. Now in the future, I do think Realty Income is going to be moving up in price. Again, will that be this year, next year? I have no idea. But Realty Income is still one of my favorites and still worth looking into if you of course want to buy into a high quality REIT. Now, another dividend stock that definitely had the potential to get a lot of us rich if you bought into it a while ago is Main Street Capital, and one of my favorite monthly paying dividend stocks across the entire market. This is a smaller position in my portfolio, but it's a super high quality business development company that I've talked a lot about in the past. Main Street Capital has been paying dividends around 7% yield since I started buying it, plus special dividends, so this single stock has grown like crazy over time, almost too fast for me to even accumulate a good amount of shares, but Main Street Capital is still one of my all-time favorites that's been paying me monthly for as long as I can remember. Now, as far as some newer positions, these are some names that I've been buying a lot more as of recently, some of my favorites overall. Ticker symbol GPIX or GPIQ, the Goldman Sachs versions of the premium income ETFs that offer exposure to the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ version for GPIQ. Both these ETFs have been pretty solid. I do think they do have a lot more upside potential than some of the other premium income ETFs just because of how they're constructed. Now that brings me into another point I wanted to make. If you guys want to see me go deep into any of these names, that's all I talk about on my channel, so check out some of my other videos. Another newer name that I've been buying like crazy, QDVO, the Amplify CWP Growth and Income ETF. I've been buying this one a lot more as of recently. I actually think it offers a lot of things that a lot of the high quality premium income ETFs offer, but does it even better maybe. Definitely look into QDVO if you guys haven't already. Two more dividend income names that have me super excited as of recent is OMAH, the VistaShares 15 Berkshire Select Income ETF. I think this ETF is going to continue to be a massive hit, just like it already has in the community. Now this is because us dividend income investors do want some decent sized distributions, which this ETF at least has the potential to offer. But along with that, this ETF buys into or mirrors the 20 largest holdings in Berkshire Hathaway BRK.B. So you are talking super quality with this one. OMAH is still a relatively small position in my portfolio as of right now, but I've been adding it almost every single day. And this one, like I said, overall just has me super excited. Now, last but not least, this is another ETF that has me super excited as of recently is IYRI, the NEO's Real Estate High Income ETF. As you guys know, most of my portfolio is made up of real estate investment trust ETFs or single stocks, of course. I like real estate a lot, but I also like covered calls a lot, and this ETF basically combines the both of them. I've talked about this ETF before on the channel. Like I said, watch through some of my other videos if you want to see me do a deep dive, but this ETF has me super excited. I've been buying shares of it like crazy as of recently. I wouldn't be surprised if this ETF over time becomes a larger position of my overall portfolio. So there's just a few of my favorite names as of right now. As a dividend investor that's now been investing for around 9 years straight and spent or purchased well over $1 million worth of stocks and ETFs. Before I go, I do have a question for you guys down below. What are some of your all-time favorites when it comes to dividend paying stocks and or ETFs? Drop the ticker symbols in my comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like in it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.